This is a span 32, and this has replaced the old panel that the customer had. He had 150 amp service originally. Obviously, we've changed that out and upgraded it. And so, you know, one of the drawbacks of some of these older homes is the electrical service, you know, doesn't meet the needs of some of our more modern requirements, you know, pool heaters, electric vehicles, and so on. So, you know, span does allow for that. You know, it's got a 225 amp bus bar. It has the power up function. So it does actually allow you to get even more power. But more importantly, we did upgrade their service to 200 amp anyway. So it's more than sufficient now. And then obviously with the backup that we have, you know, span managing those loads. So again, you know, when the grid goes down, it's going to shed some things like the pool heater, the electric water heater, so on. And then it's going to list some of those loads as critical, you know, the internet, fridge, freezer, security system. Those are going to be always on. And then we're going to have some nice to have circuits. That's going to be, you know, the air conditioner, some of those things that are nice to have, but in a long-term outage, you wouldn't want them to drain your batteries. And a lot of the systems installed without, you know, things like the span, these batteries would just deplete, and, you know, you'd have to wait for them to turn on the next day. So having the span managing your battery system is pretty phenomenal. So really happy with how this system turned out, you know, keeping everything nice and clean, all against the wall, very safe. And yeah, fortunately, well, not fortunately, knew we were going to. We passed our inspection today, so we'll be submitting that to Duke Energy, and this customer will definitely be getting PTO for this beautiful solar system before the tax credit expires. So really happy. And then just as an added benefit, going to show you one of our other systems that we installed. Obviously, this is the neighbor, and they referred us over. And so we've done the same for them. Even though this is a new product, we've retrofitted our whole home surge protector, because, you know, when you find a product that, you know, is going to serve someone in a really beneficial way, you want to make sure that you're thanking them for not only their business, but for their testimonial. And, you know, obviously one neighbor talks to another, and the power went out today, and everyone came around asking how they still had power. Well, that's what happens when you have massive batteries on your wall, all managed by span.